Not all animals are friendly, cuddly little things. Many creatures are highly intelligent, and they use those smarts and cunnings for their own sinister or selfish purposes. And to be fair, they're pretty good at it. From monkeys who have mastered the art of negotiation, to a bird that can transform itself into an umbrella for the hunt, here are 15 animals who are evil geniuses. Number 15. Boxer crabs. Boxer crabs and sea anemones form one of the most unusual and astounding symbiotic relationships in the entire animal kingdom. These crabs wield sea anemones attached to their claws in horizontal motions as they move. This colorful display serves as a natural deterrent to predators, and when directly threatened, the crab will utilize the sea anemone in a forward punching movement towards the aggressor. The sea anemone's stinging tentacles serve as the ultimate defense mechanism for the crab. In exchange for this defense, boxer crabs feed their helpful partners. The crabs utilize the sea anemone's tentacles to collect food particles, then subsequently digest the debris and provide adequate meals in return, making for the most unlikely and amazing friends. While most cases of symbiosis are pretty fascinating, this one really takes the cake. Number 14. Bowerbirds. Bowerbirds are stout, typically heavy-billed and strong-footed songbirds that range from the size of a common starling to that of a small slim jackdaw. The bowerbirds include both sexually monochromatic and strikingly sexual dichromatic species. 3 social monogamous and territorial species are known as catbirds, and the remaining 17 species are confirmed or presumed to reproduce polygamously, and apparently without defending territory other than their immediate bower or nest sites. The bowerbird is a medium-sized bird known for its unique courtship ritual. Male bowerbirds construct miniature art galleries, fitting called bowers, to attract potential mates. This is done by weaving together little stick structures and decorating them with brightly colored objects. Due to their appreciation for novel objects, it's not uncommon to find the walls of these little museums peppered with things like glass, rifle shells, coins, and broken plastic. Once these structures are finished, female bowerbirds flit from gallery to gallery, playing the part of snobby art critic. To ensure they get all the chicks, male bowerbirds make a habit of destroying the bowers of their rivals. They're basically a strange mix of artist and corporate saboteur. Number 13. Cuckoo. The cuckoo is a medium-sized bird of the family Cuckoolidae, which includes the European cuckoo, roadrunner, and 24 other genera of slender birds. They are found throughout the world. Most are tree-dwelling, although some, such as the infamous roadrunner, spend the majority of their time on the ground. Cuckoo birds are generally medium-sized. The smallest species, the little bronze cuckoo, weighs only 0.03 pounds and is about 6 inches long. The largest species, the channel-billed cuckoo, weighs up to 1.4 pounds and is 25 inches long. The most well-known species, the common or European cuckoo, lies somewhere in the middle, at about 13 inches long from bill to tail. The common cuckoo is slender and has a grayish body. A red rust or rufous color morph also exists in females and some juvenile males. The solid coloration extends from their underside over their breast, where there begins a section of the cuckoo's belly feathers that are barred black and white. Its tail is long, making up about 40% of its overall length. While in flight, its profile is reminiscent of a sparrowhawk, which they may mimic. Common cuckoos molt twice per year. The cuckoo is the undisputed queen of absent parenting, and truly one of the worst moms in the animal kingdom. Not only does this sneaky bird lay its eggs in the nest of other birds, forcing them to do the hard work of catching the chick, but they don't even come back to see the fruit of their womb when it is hatched, leaving all the work of rearing the chick to whichever bird they dumped their eggs on in the first place. If children's service existed in the bird world, you would be sure they want a word with the cuckoo moms. Number 12. Margay. The margay looks similar to the bigger ocelot and the smaller tiger cats, which have similar coat patterns and colors. It is closer to the tiger cats in size, but in appearance it resembles the ocelot. In some parts of South America, it is even called little ocelot. Their coat is brownish yellow through tan, with black spots, stripes, and blotches running lengthwise along their body. The margay has a thick and soft fur, which renders one of its common names in northern Brazil, gato peludo or furry cat. We all know that house cats are uppity little divas that live to munch on sleeping toes. But their vocabulary is not the most sophisticated. Aside from purrs, meows, and the occasional chirp, our feline companions are mute. That's not the case with the margay, however. These Amazonian natives have been documented mimicking the call of young members of their preferred snack. Thinking they hear the injured cries of an infant, Its prey often rushes out of their hiding place and right into the jaws of the waiting Margay. Number 11. Indonesian temple Macaques. Pickpocketing is perhaps the most common crime that befalls tourists. What is decidedly less common, however, is having one's wallet or pack of Marlboros snatched by Macaque monkeys. But organized monkey crime is currently on the rise in the Uluwatu Temple on Bali. Primate experts in Indonesia have taken note of a syndicate of fiery tricksters that have taken to stealing from tourists and holding the pilfered sunglasses and flip-flops captive until tourists pay up in the form of unmarked, non-consecutive snacks. When visiting tourists turn their backs, monkeys make a dash for their backpacks. Rummaging through the goods, they run off with items such as cameras, cash, glasses, and passports. That's right, if you want to pry your baseball cap off of the Macaques' clever little hands, you better be prepared to barter with whatever food you have on hand. However, this specific behavior is not exhibited by Macaques outside the Uluwatu Temple, which means the behavior is learned, no doubt passed down through generations of monkey Carleones. Even though their grifts are currently small time and scale, if evolution teaches us anything, an all-monkey version of Ocean 11 can't be far off. Number 10. The assassin bug. You may have been looking into assassin bugs. After all, their name is very intriguing, and wondered, does an assassin bug bite? The simple answer is yes. They bite for different reasons. Some bite to feed, and others will bite as a defensive mechanism when provoked. Either way, you don't want to be on the receiving end of an assassin bug bite. Trust me, its name says it all. These bugs are not only transmitters of Chagas disease, but masters of both murder and trickery. Scientists have evidence of assassin bugs doing everything from mimicking the sound of rustling leaves to pretending to be prey in a spider's web. Once a target draws into range, these bugs turn into miniature vampires. Injecting their prey with a paralyzing poison, they drain them of blood and other bodily fluids. Number 9. Orchid mantis. The orchid mantis is a flower-like mantis which is largely found in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia. Orchid mantises typically breed in the Indonesian forests. Orchid mantis is one of the few mantises that imitate flowers. But unlike most other mantises, orchid mantis are least likely to choose flowers as a successful hunting ground. The reason is simple. Orchid mantises become themselves flower. They don't need to hide in one. The flower-like appearance of a mantis enables it to inhabit in just about every open field. They preferably seek out patches of green vegetation to tempt their prey. The female can reach the overall length of 4 inches, while the male averages around 2 inches. Unlike male, the female displays rich creamy white plumage with some prominent brown patches on it. The orchid mantis is so cryptically colored that it literally looks like a flower. It won't be wrong to assume that orchid mantises are masters of camouflage. The orchid mantis is a carnivore. The essential items in its diet are insects. The captive specimens like to feed on lepidopteran prey. In the wild, the orchid mantis can kill prey as large as the dipteran fly. Additionally, the orchid mantis consumes fruit flies, bees, crickets, lizards, turtles, birds, mice, frogs, beetles, and other flies. They can occasionally demonstrate cannibalistic behavior because the male is only half the size of a female. Number 8. Drongos. Drongos range from Africa to Central Asia, Australia, and Western Pacific Islands, inhabiting forests, open country, and gardens. They feed like flycatchers or shrikes, taking large insects and termites. Their voices are loud mixtures of harsh and sweet sounds. Some species, like the rackettail, are good mimics. Just because Drongo is Aussie for moron doesn't mean that these birds are stupid. In fact, recent discoveries point to the opposite. First, you need to know that the alarm calls of this bird are often the first sign that a predator is in the area. When other birds hear its call, they fly out to cower amongst the bushes and trees. But these calls aren't always honest. Scientists have recently observed groups of drongos calling for help, so that when the other birds flee, they scoop up any food they left behind. Number 7. Moths. The word moth may conjure up images of drab brown insects sticking to your screen door on a summer night. But there's much more to these mostly nocturnal flyers than meets the eye. Not only are moths extraordinarily diverse in color, shape, and size, they also offer a huge array of ecological benefits, from pollinating plants to feeding birds, bats, and even people around the globe. There are an estimated 160,000 species of moths in the world. Some of them have pretty interesting traits and abilities. Many of these revolve around one of their most prolific predators, bats. Somewhere in the past millions of years, moths have developed the ability to both jam and mimic the echolocation of everyone's favorite flying mammal. Dark-minded male moths, however, use these calls to terrify females and lure them into mating. Number 6. Crows. Until the 21st century, birds were largely dismissed as simpletons. After all, how smart can you be with a brain the size of a nut? The theory went, and taunts such as calling someone a bird brain were common. Research has since shown, however, that birds make good use of the allotted space for their tiny brains by packing in lots of neurons. More so than mammals, in fact. And crows are one of the smartest of the birds. Crows have an uncanny memory for human faces. They can hold grudges against some of us, and tell other crows about it too. In fact, they seem to have such a good sense that every person is unique, and that they need to approach each of us differently. If you think two crows watching you and calling at each other are talking about you, you're probably right. Crow communication is poorly understood. The intensity, rhythm, and duration of calls seem to form the basis of a possible language. While several species use tools, crows are the only non-primates that make new tools. In addition to using sticks as spears and hooks, crows will bend wire to make tools, even if they have never encountered wire before. Crows not only plan for future events, but consider the thinking of other crows. When a crow catches food, it looks around to see if it's being observed. If it sees another animal is watching, the crow will pretend to hide its treasure, but will really stash it in its feathers. The crow then flies away to find a new secret spot. Number 5. The spider-tailed horned viper. If there's one thing we dislike more than snakes, it's spiders. The only thing worse would be a creature that combined them both. Meet the spider-tailed horned viper. The spider-tailed horned viper makes its home in the wilds of western Iran, where it lies in wait for its winged prey of choice. But unlike many other incredibly patient ambush predators, this viper has a mind-boggling trick up its sleeve, or in this case, in its tail to speed up the process. As the viper's name suggests, the tail closely resembles a spider, legs and all. Remaining motionless and well camouflaged, the snake begins to wiggle the tail, moving the conspicuous spider in patterns that make it appear to be scuttling around in the ground. To avian eyes, the spider-shaped snack can be simply irresistible, especially when the birds have hungry mouths to feed back at their nest. If temptation proves too much, a bird will swoop in for the kill and encounter a nasty surprise instead. The hunter becomes the hunted as the waiting viper strikes with incredible speed. For some, it's the stuff nightmares are made of a predatory combination of snake and spider. Luckily, for those more inclined to lose sleep over such things, it's not as bad as it initially sounds. There are no spider-snake hybrids sliding and skittering through the underground, but we can present to you with the snake that is a spider for a tail. Number 4. Golden eagles. Golden eagles are one of the largest birds in North America. The wings are broad like a red-tailed hawk's, but longer. At distance, the head is relatively small, and the tail is long, projecting farther behind than the head sticks out in the front. Adult golden eagles are dark brown with a golden sheen on the back of the head and neck. For the first several years of life, young birds have neatly defined white patches at the base of the tail and the wings. Imagine walking along the street one moment and falling through the sky the next. That's a pretty common occurrence for the prey of golden eagles, especially turtles. This Peter Pan moment doesn't end in a trip to Neverland, however. It ends in a shattered skull. Once the bird of prey reaches a suitable height, it lets go, then slides down to pick up the shattered remains. Number 3. The shrike. Shrikes are medium-sized birds with gray, brown, or black and white plumage. Most species are between 6.3 inches and 25 centimeters, 9.8 inches in size. However, the genus Corvinella, with its extremely elongated tail feathers, may reach up to 20 inches in length. Shrikes eat mostly large insects, also rodents and small birds. Diet in summer is mainly insects, especially grasshoppers and crickets. Also beetles, wasps, and others. Eats mice and other rodents at all seasons, especially in winter, and eats small birds. When you think of evil animal geniuses, you probably don't think of anything that looks like the shrike. This cute little bird looks more like a sparrow than a shrike. But one look at its surroundings will quickly change your perception. When mating season comes around, these birds turn the surrounding bushes into macabre Christmas trees. Male shrikes fly around and pick up smaller birds, lizards, snakes, and live insects. They then impale these creatures, many of them still wiggling, onto thorns and cactuses. Female shrikes then mate with whichever bird most closely mimics Dracula. Number 2. Dolphins. We humans tend to arrogantly assume our intelligence is leaps and bounds beyond that of any animal. However, other animals, including dolphins, show many signs of intelligence and complex thought. It is obvious that human intelligence has had a huge impact on our planet. our use of tools and communication has created complex cultures and technologies. Human intelligence has enabled many amazing and terrible things. Though humans are undeniably highly intelligent animals, it is difficult to pin down the traits that distinguish our intelligence from that of other animals. Other animals can use tools, communicate, and even experience complex emotions. Dolphins have many intelligent behaviors. They are extremely social animals with complex communication and relationship. Dolphins are able to pass information between generations, teaching skills to their extended family. Dolphins can understand how the order of words changes their meaning. When taught to recognize symbols, they can differentiate between the phrases ball to the hoop or hoop to the ball. Dolphins have also been trained for complex tasks, such as hunting mines in the ocean. Dolphins also communicate through their interactions. Another example of dolphin intelligence is empathy. For example, dolphins mourn the loss of members of their family. In addition, their empathy extends beyond their own species. There are many stories of dolphins coming to the aid of drowning people, carrying them to the surface for air. These complex behaviors obviously show that dolphins are intelligent. Their social behaviors, communication, empathy, and use of tools reveal their intelligence. Though defining or measuring their intelligence is difficult, it is obvious that these creatures have a lot on their minds. Over the years, dolphins have discovered that terrorized pufferfish release non-lethal amounts of their toxin. This makes them tingly and euphoric. While not quite villainous, it's certainly a strange use of their talents. Number 1. Killer whales. Orcas are the largest of the dolphins and one of the world's most powerful predators. They are immediately recognized by their distinctive black and white coloring. Smart and social, orcas make a wide variety of communicative sounds, and each pod has distinctive noises that its members will recognize even at a distance. They use echolocation to communicate and hunt, making sounds that travel underwater until they encounter objects, then bounce back, revealing their location, size, and shape. Though they often frequent cold coastal waters, orcas can be found from their polar regions to the equator. They're at the top of the food chain and have very diverse diets, feasting on fish, penguins, and marine animals such as seals, sea lions, and even whales, employing teeth that can be 4 inches long. They are known to grab seals right off the ice. They also eat fish, squid, and seabirds. Orcas hunt in deadly pods, family groups of up to 40 individuals. There appear to be both resident and transient pod populations of orcas. These different groups may prey on different animals and use different techniques to catch them. Resident pods tend to prefer fish, while transient pods target marine mammals. All pods use effective, cooperative hunting techniques that some liken to the behavior of wolf packs. Orcas even managed to learn a long time ago that sharks that go belly up end up paralyzed and defenseless. Scientists have observed some orcas together to flip over great whites and tiger sharks. They then swarm at the motionless shark and rip it to canned tuna. And as they're awake, it's likely the shark feels every bit of it. I bet you never thought some of these animals were so shy. The box crab and spider-tailed horned viper just blew me out of the water. They're kings of the ambush. Well, that's it for our countdown of the 15 animals who are evil geniuses. Join us next time for another amazing countdown. Until then, have a good one.